yeah, I got a big box. Yeah, and it's really heavy. Actually, no, it's not. It's just a box from Lidl. But like most things these days, when you get something delivered, the box is usually a lot bigger than the thing inside. And in this case, I imagine it probably is. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look in the box. Now, I warn you, alright, this Lucky Dip it is, yes, Lucky Dip. And the reason why I say that is because the blade that I bought from Lidl's, I've never had before, so hopefully it is lucky. Yeah, a lucky blade. That actually cuts wood for a start. No, you're only going to say, why a blade from Lidl's? Why would you do such a thing? I'll tell you why I'm done such a thing. Oh, actually, it's easy. I can pull that, can't I? Why don't I just do that? Oh, crikey. Anyway, as you can see, the box is too big for what's inside. Now, I bought 2 blades, alright? Now, the one I'm interested in this case is the 40-tooth blade, which is that one, alright? That one I'm going to test in my radial arm saw. Now, my other blades, I think the one in there is, I can't remember, like a Walt or something like that. I've got Mecha Bois blades, and I've got some relatively expensive. This is an expensive blade. This is just a relatively cheap blade, but that's about a 30 quid blade. This was €7 for a blade, for a 10-inch blade. It can't be any good, can it? Nah, it can't be. I hope it is, but you know, I thought myself that while I'm cutting any shitty timber, I'll just whip this blade in. Because it's throwaway money, isn't it, you know? I mean, it's in a throwaway world. And it's an opportune time at the moment to do it, because what I find happening now is this blade is burning. And the reason why it's burning is it's got a lot of resin on it. It's not blunt, it's got a lot of resin. So I thought, I know, let's swap it over and see whether or not it cuts. I'll tell you what, I know what we'll do first. I'll show you the blade that I got in there, cutting a bit of green wood. That's what I'll do first. Yeah. Alright, actually really should change that. Yeah, or whatever it is. Right. We want the sawdust to be thrown into the bottom and not hanging about the top. So I've got a piece of wood over here. Here, this will do. I'll start cutting it and it's kind of like, oh my god, it just doesn't want to know. So let's just pull that back on there again. Set the fence. Alright, let's see what happens, alright? That's cut. It's going to be going through there like butter, but stop. Hear that? The blade is swelling up, so needless to say, that ain't no good. Because it's going to take too long, it's going to heat the blade up and potentially damage the blade. Now, there ain't actually anything wrong with this blade, other than the fact that it's got a lot of resin built up on it. But if you've got a spare blade, you can just take that blade and swap it with your new blade. So that's what I'm going to do, and then we're going to try and make that cut again using the new blade. Now, it will most definitely, I'm fairly confident, it's going to cut better than this one at the moment. This blade needs a clean. Right? You can do that with some acid and that. I tend to use, to get the resin off my blades, I tend to use a 10 litre paint tub, put a bit of acid on it, you know, if basically oven cleaner will do, and then leave it for a few moments to get a bit of work with a brush, and then flip it over and do the other side, and wash it on the tap, dry it off, and then it gets rid of all the resin. And your blade is sharp again. It was sharp before, but what's happened is, it's built up resin on the sides of the blade, because the wood I'm cutting's green. If you do a lot of pine and softwoods, you might end up with a lot of resin on your blade anyway, you know, even if it's dry. So, what do I need? I need a bit of wood. Oh, I've got to have my wood. Where's my wood? What, a piece of wood? Any old bit will do. That'll do. A bit of plywood. Right, and I'll use that to stop the blade, stop from turning. So I'll just put that in there like that. And let's just flip that blade. Flip it over, flip it. I don't flip it at all, do I? I just want to take it out. So I'm undoing the nut. Right? Yes, disconnect is good. So I'm undoing my nut. To take off the washer, to take off the blade. So got a long shaft on this blade, so you can put a dado in this if you want to. This saw. Right, we're going to take this new blade by Lidl. Now, let's take it as our first impression, shall we? Right, it comes in a box, which is quite nice instead of those stupid plastic things, because you could use the box again to put the other blades in. Alright, so that's actually quite handy. So like for instance that blade, if I want to put it to one side, instead of it bashing onto other stuff, I can say to myself, okay then, I can put this blade, or any other blades, and that'll, a sharp one that is, you can put that in there like that, alright, as you can see on there it's got a lot of resin build up on that around the teeth. Alright, that's why it's burning, it's not because it's blunt. And okay. It's a DeWalt blade, that one is. I'll put it in there, and I'll put it to one side now. And right on what it is, so you know, you don't think it's another little blade, or you can see it there, little windows you can see. Crikey, it's really, really built up the resin. Anyway, you can actually, if you look, if it's this, it's not too bad, you might be getting away with just getting a bit of plastic on a piece of wood and just pick off the bits of resin off around the teeth if you have to. But anyway, that's about this little thing here. It's this blade here that you get. That comes in. Oh, got a plastic bag and all. You got to have your plastic bag. And I'll tell you what I do like, because I've been having a lot of blades recently, and they don't come with spare washers. All right, these spacer washers. Now, if you look at them, they've got a serrated edge to them like that. All right, so they hold in the hole. And it's got a blade protector on it. Got to find my joint. Is it there? There we go. Let's take it off there. That probably just get chucked in the bin. Right. First impression of sharpness. It's just sharp like a blade. It does have a load of what is that now? There's a load of varnish on it at the moment. Okay, yeah, a lot of varnish on there. Well, no, but they are sharp. It is pretty sharp. And the actual teeth itself, if you look, the tungsten carbide teeth, they're a reasonable size. They're not as big as my other saw blade, but you know, that's a $6.99 blade. It ain't going to be perfect, is it? You know, it's one by Parkside. This is from Lidl's, and this particular blade is a 254mm. It's 10-inch, and it's got a 30mm bore, and obviously then you get your inch and different size washers. And it is a wood blade. It's not, doesn't say it's for plastics, but I don't see why you couldn't use it for plastics. Although I'd use a finer blade for plastics, Jim. An 80 to 100 tooth or something. So let's plonk that in there. Hang on, shall I put the washer on first? Right. Now, I'm going to tap that in there. If the serrations, if it's a new washer, which that is, the serrations are good, you can get away with just doing that, alright? But if you utilise an old washer, okay, and the serrations are starting to wear down around the actual washer, what you can do is you can use a punch, like a nail punch, and just do a couple, 3, 4 little nail punches into the washer, and it expands the washer near the edge, and it'll grip inside the hole then, you see. So, we'll place that back in there like so. Slide it on there like so. Put our washer up. I just don't understand it, this washer, right? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's got quite a bit of space there behind there, which means where the saw, it's never come out, but where the saw washer, the spacer washer goes, right, there's nothing pushing against it. So there's a possibility that could actually fall out, isn't there? I'd have thought. Anyway, this is a Jet Super Saw. It ain't that super. It's not bad, you know, it's okay. The biggest problem with it is the rise and fall and dust extraction. But that's like a lot of saws, you know. If you're doing a lot of ripping, you can end up with long cuts, so long shavings, or sawdust, and that just clogs all the holes up. So what I did on this saw, I've sod this, you know, I've got away with the dust extraction, right, and I've basically cut the bottom of the box out. The bottom of the thing just falls out now. It's not ideal, but that's what I've got, you know. If someone wants to sponsor me, well then maybe I'll get a new saw. But you know, I'm not a wealthy man. But I do like playing with me wood. Okay, so tighten that up. Don't over tighten it. Just hand tight. And should you see how good that is? That's actually really handy having these little cardboard boxes, because if you All my blades are basically on that wall behind that, crap there, right? And I just put against it. Yeah, they're on that little things that stick out. Little bits down. So they're fine on there, but if you're going to be putting them in a drawer, isn't that great to have a little box to put them in the drawer? So you're not bashing all the sharp edges against each other. So let's bring this back over here. So effectively the right thickness, like so. Just a little bit close. That's it. Let's see how good it is, shall we? I hope it's going to be good. It is going to congeal up like the other blade, because obviously it's the resin, because this is green chestnut. As you see on that one there, you see it burning on there. You know, it's just friction, isn't it? It builds up heat. You know, it's a bit like when people say to me, "Oh, do you smoke?" And I say, "No, only during intercourse." I say, you know, that's how it goes. I know I ain't got a riving knife. I ain't come up with a way of fixing one on this saw yet. I've got a few ideas, but the problem with a lot of these saws, the riving knife attaches the blooming guard, and because of that you can't do blind cuts. Stupid design. I like the old-fashioned one. I used to have a Wadkin in the UK, a 12-inch Wadkin, and that was a brilliant saw. But the actual guard is swung over from the corner, you know, over the top of the blade. But most of these saws these days don't do it. So let's try it one more time. That's green chestnut, 50mm thick. So in various locations, it's 50mm thick. I can stay at that. I didn't cut it. I was done by a friend. He got a chainsaw, cut some boards down. But somebody's wasted wood. So yeah, I think it's actually okay. It's quite a thin blade, so for ripping, it's quite good. You get a lot less, waste. Now, the blade I used to like, or still do, for ripping would be a CMT, there we go, ripping blade. A CMT ripping blade is my favourite blade for ripping, if I can find one here. This one is absolutely knackered. Ow! Not really. So if I was, this was available where I am, they haven't got any at the moment. This is a CMT rip blade. Now I would have bought another one of these, to be honest. These last ages, but as you see, it's Teflon coat, man, which is good. But it's got lots of broken teeth. I could have some teeth put on, I suppose. But the blade's old, you know, and it's not an expensive blade. These are only about €30, or were. I haven't been able to find them here now, which is a bit unfortunate. But they're a thin, curved blade. Spitting now. Blade for ripping. So that's a thin, curved blade. Ideal for ripping. This has actually got less teeth. This is only a 30-tooth blade, I think it is. No, it's a 20-tooth blade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 24 teeth. That's a 24-tooth blade. So that's ideal. That's ideal for ripping. This is a 40-tooth blade. That's sort of a general purpose, a bit of ripping, bit of cross-cutting kind of thing. But, $6.99 that was. Pretty sure that was what it was. The postage was almost as expensive, but that was for 2 blades. And they do, oh crikey, what they do now? They got, this is a 80-tooth. I think they got a 90 or 100-tooth one as well. the 40 tooth blade which I've got, you know, not be funny, but that's a lot of teeth on there for £7. Are they going to be perfect? No, of course they aren't. But if you're at risk of damaging your saw blade, like for instance, might be nailing it or shit like that, if you're doing like a recycled wood, barn wood, and you know, reclaimed timber, you can have all sorts of nasties in there. Well, then something like one of them cheap old blades, you know, they're throwaway money, aren't they? You know? The only thing I would say is the blade's quite thin, so if you are like ripping, I know the full depth of your blade, and it's, you know, 70, 80 odd mil, if you're ripping that thickness in oak, well then that's going to get a bit hot. But that applies to any blade. You really want a thicker blade then, because the blade can buckle, and then that creates all sorts of problems. Right? But I think for a lot of people, that's going to do what you need it to do. You know? I think we have to be honest with ourselves. It's all very well been like a bit of a tool tart and what have you, and you know, very decent blades. Now this one here is another blade. These are good. All right? These are Saxton blades. They don't look like much. All right? It's a company in the United Kingdom, but that was like cost me £20. That did 20, 25 quid, something like that, for that blade. And that blade lasted me absolutely ages. So obviously the welding's good and the teeth are good. You know, a nice, decent carbide in them. I don't know how good these are. I imagine you're going to lose teeth and all sorts of stuff on them. You know, if you hit a nail and stuff. But so what? At that price, do you really care? Honestly, you know. Do you really care? If it cuts through the wood, if you're just using it for ripping down timber down to smaller stock, doesn't really matter. As long as it does the job. If you're cutting like, I don't know, Formica, you know, melamine finished boards and what have you, well then you might want to get something a little bit more, how to put it, designed for that purpose. But for people's general purpose cutting, you know, that little Lidl's or Parkside brand of blades will probably do exactly what you needed to do. Cut wood. You know, that one will probably cut plastic as well, to be fair. It says wood, but that'll cut plastics. Anyway, it's time for me to go, so I say toodaloo now. I just thought I'd share that with you because I thought, well, not everyone can splash out and then you hit a nail and then you kind of think, crikey, I just spent 40, 50, 60, 100 quid on a blade and I just destroyed it. How soul-destroying is that? So sometimes it's a good idea to have a few little cheapies like that to one side. You know, it's not. Oh, by the way, they weren't sent to me or anything. I bought them with my own money. I'm not sponsored by Lidl's, even though I've got a bit of Lidl's kit now, and I've been quite impressed with it. I am. So apart from one thing, I just had a battery fail. So yeah, it's only a few weeks old. It's not charging, but yeah, that's another story. I'll see how good their customer service is. Toodaloo.